Welcome to the weekly weather briefing for Monday, April 9th from the National Weather Service in Spokane. After today, the weather pattern becomes active again. The first rain chances come Tuesday, along with wind. Wednesday to Friday will see periodic precipitation, with cooler conditions allowing some of that to fall as snow. The first part of next weekend looks mostly dry, before shower chances redevelop Sunday. The first system comes in Tuesday, with a steadier area of rain migrating from west to east through the morning hours. By afternoon, the steadier rain threat moves to the mountains, but the risk for hit-and-miss showers will continue elsewhere. Snow levels are expected to be relatively high to start the system, but going into Tuesday evening and overnight, they begin to drop so that some snow will be possible over the passes. But by then, the precipitation amounts are expected to be lighter. A couple inches or so will be possible late, around places like Stevens Pass, while other passes should see an inch or less. The other feature of Tuesday's system will be winds. They won't be too strong during the morning hours, but toward midday through the early evening they are expected to increase. This image shows the potential peak wind gusts for Tuesday afternoon. The higher winds will be in the unsheltered Columbia Basin into the West Plains and Palouse, with gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour possible. The next system moves into the region Wednesday. Through the morning hours, the threat will be limited to mainly the mountain zones, but going through Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night, the precipitation will expand from west to east. Looking at the image on the left, precipitation amounts between a tenth to a quarter inch are expected on average. The other potential will be thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours, outlined in the red in the image on the left. However, the overall risk will be rather limited, but where those occur, precipitation amounts could be locally higher. Snow levels will be lower with this system, bringing the potential for some moderate accumulations in a few of the passes. The biggest threat for impacts will be around the Cascade Crest and around Sherman Pass. Some snow is expected in the other passes, but during the daylight hours, accumulations on roads may be difficult. Moving on to the remainder of the forecast week, the occasional threat of showers will continue. This image highlights a couple spots in Washington. The region will move under the influence of an upper trough between Thursday and Friday, which will be the main impetus for that precipitation potential. The best risk will be around the mountain zones and more isolated elsewhere. There will be enough instability on Thursday to continue to mention a threat of thunderstorms, but again the risk is limited. At this time, Saturday is expected to be dry, save for a limited shower threat near the mountains. Another threat of precipitation moves in on Sunday, with snow levels recovering to 5,000 to 6,000 feet. With each of these precipitation chances comes the potential for breezy conditions, but right now, none look like they would cause big impacts. Looking at a few slides in Idaho, we see the same trend. With the precipitation in the past few weeks, the normal spring thaw and runoff, there will be some potential for landslides. We have already heard of some from last week's rains in Okanagan County. While it is difficult to impossible to predict where and when a landslide may occur, hilly or steep terrain is the main location. As for the waterways, although some rises are forecast, none of the main stem rivers are expected to flood. Small streams may react more quickly to any rain or snowmelt, but through the period there are no systems that stand out as big precipitation makers. We have already hit the climatological peak in Snowpack, so as part of the normal cycle, some of that will start to melt away as we go through the next months. But for now, the snowpack across the inland Northwest and Northern Rockies is looking good compared to normal. How well we maintain our snowpack will depend on temperature and precipitation trends, but looking at the next slide, I think we will remain in good shape for this month. Starting into the second half of April, the pattern would suggest a good chance of cooler and wetter than normal conditions. So from a purely temperature standpoint, our snowpack seems safe for now. Thank you for joining us for this weekly weather briefing, and be sure to keep an eye on the forecast.